Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So happy weekend to you all. You'll be watching this on Saturday. I'm actually filming this on Thursday. So I wanted to share with you first that this may be some of the last Thanksgiving content that I do. I may do some dishes or ideas for actual Thanksgiving, but the heavy Thanksgiving focus I'm probably gonna move on from because, y'all, in the YouTube world, holidays are very different. They usually start like months before, well, I shouldn't say months, a couple months, sometimes before the actual holiday. And those influencers that are creating content want to give their ideas to their subscribers well in advance so things can be purchased or made or whatsoever. I'm not a total influencer, and this year it has been very important to me to not skip over Thanksgiving because I feel like I do need to be thankful and grateful this year in a way that I've kind of never been before, and recognize my blessings as well as those things I take for granted. Enough about that. Christmas is coming though. All right, if you are following along with our gratitude calendar, today would be, let me make sure I've got this right. Write down things you love about your home. So that'll be a fun exercise for me when I actually get to that day. But for me, this day is do something nice for a neighbor. So I thought, wow, what do I do? Where they won't lock the door when they see me going. Y'all, because I cook on my channel, I can't eat all of that food, so I do share a lot. I've never had anybody complain. But my little joke is they probably lock me out when they see me coming. So we're gonna make something really fun that is suitable for gifting, that it's suitable for your Thanksgiving dessert buffet, especially for the littles, I think. Now, before we get into that, I do want to say one thing, y'all. If by chance you screenshotted this card that I held up for JB engraving, the QR code does not work. I will also say I inadvertently put up the wrong link, which thank you for bringing that to my attention. So I have corrected that. So if you go in the description box of my last video, the link is correct. So I apologize for that. Not perfect. So what are you gonna need for today? Well, this is a sweet treat, a candy treat. And y'all know chocolate's not my thing. So this is an easy one for me to resist, although I'm sure it's really tasty. So we're gonna need some rod pretzels. You could use chocolate chips, or I happen to have these candy melts, and this is black cocoa. Melt, mold, dip, drizzle. That's Wilton brand. These are on clearance at Walmart. You will need some of the dreaded candy corn. Now, I've separated mine out to the orange, to the tricolor, and this, the orange and brown. You will need orange candies. You can use, sprinkle type candies. You could use icing. I'm going to use orange M&Ms. You're going to need some eyeballs. So what I'm using for this is this is a Halloween sprinkle container. So I picked out the white eyeballs. And then you'll either need red icing, red M&Ms, or maybe even red, they're sprinkles, but they're like button sprinkles. Simple enough, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is, in a nice dry measuring cup, we are going to melt our chocolate. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm gonna need. I'm not gonna use my whole package. And guys, I'm sure y'all know this, but I always like to say something because when I was young, I made this mistake and ruined a whole batch of chocolate. If your chocolate gets thick or starts to set up, you want to add an oil, like a coconut oil. Never add water. So I'm going to go into the microwave with this. I'm going to heat it in short bursts. When it's all melted, I'll bring you back, and then we're going to start making some turkeys out of these pretzels and goodies. So I hope you'll stay tuned. Okay, so I have taken a cookie tray, a Silpat. You could use wax paper as well, and I've laid out 10 pretzels. I've melted my chocolate. So the first thing we're going to do is I am just going to cover these pretzels. Oh, I don't know. You can do this to your liking, but you know, maybe a third of the way down. And boy, this chocolate is nice and thick. I will give it that. So you're going to notice, oops, that I'm very messy. There we go, cover that up. I've alternated, well, I will be alternating the pretzels. And that is because we have to give our turkey some feathers, which will be the candy corn. Now, is this my original idea? No, not quite that creative. I actually saw this on Pinterest, and there weren't really any directions on it. So I figure it was pretty self-explanatory. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna continue to cover each of these. If your chocolate gets too thick, again, I said use oil. You need to use like a solid oil or a hard oil, like coconut oil. If you use shortening, you could probably use lard as well, but you want a fat that is solid in its cooled state. Otherwise, your chocolate won't set up properly. I've never tried using cocoa butter. Cocoa butter has a very high melting point. So my concern with that is you might end up scorching the actual chocolate in an effort to get the cocoa butter melted adequately. If you're melting them together, you'd probably do all right if you melted them separately. So I'm going to keep dipping, oops, and slopping. And y'all, I have to share my apron with you. So this has a nice big turkey on it, and it says turkeys, and at the top it says thankful for my, and I thought it said turkeys, but y'all, it actually says kindergarten turkeys. So note to self, look carefully at the pictured item. And this I got from Temu, and it was under $4. So, you know, it still has a turkey on it. I'll just keep the word kindergarten covered up. Okay, guys, I'm going to continue dipping. I'll bring you back. I am actually going to let these, nope. You know what? Let's go ahead and decorate a couple while that chocolate's soft. Boy, I am not thinking today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give our turkey eyeballs. Tweezers would probably make this simpler. And you can also dip the item that you're sticking in chocolate if your chocolate's setting up. So there is his beak. And then, of course, he needs a gobbler. So we're going to stick that there. And I would say just do a few if you don't want to have to keep dipping your accoutrement in chocolate. Oops. Some of my turkeys may look a little cross-eyed, but you know, individual turkeys, no problem with that. This is still like quite soft. So, oh yeah, very soft and quite messy. You know, I almost think that the gobbler would look more like a gobbler if we had it longer and maybe in two pieces. So let's see if we can do that. Oh, you're sliding. Okay. Maybe a half M&M is good for that. So I'm going to keep decorating. Then I will go into the fridge and just let these set up nice and firm because we still need to add the feathers. right, y'all, we're in the quick chiller. Our pretzel sticks are nice and firm. Thank you, Philco. My 1951 Philco refrigerator. So I've actually done a test one here, but what you want to do is we are going to take, I'm going to say about a tablespoon, maybe a little more, of the melted chocolate and make a circle out of the chocolate that is thick enough that it is going to hold that pretzel and some candy corn feathers. So I'm trying to make it, fairly round. We're gonna stick our little pretzel guy. Yeah, our turkey, he is a pretzel guy, in. And what I would say is if, you're not even, your thickness is not even, you can fuss with it a little bit. And what I did was I put 7 candy corn around. Some of these candy corn are kind of wonky. Somebody is sleeping on a job. But how adorable are these? So they do look just like little turkeys. So let's make another. And y'all, I ended up melting all of the chocolate, and this was, oh Lord, I'll have to look for how many ounces, but I'm gonna say about the equivalent of half of a package of chocolate chips. It wasn't a humongous package. I will also say, I think the Silpat is a really good idea if you have one. Y'all, I have the Amazon Basic version. They work great. And over time, if you notice the difference between the two colors, they do discolor from things that you're cooking. So, why spend the extra money? I'll be sure and link them below in case you want to order. So I think this one, we're going to get real spiffo here with it. I think I'm going to alternate, how about that, the colors. So you can just have fun with it. I mean, there's no real right or wrong. Wait, is that the right one? Yeah. Color combo, And this might even be something fun, y'all. You could do with kids on Thanksgiving as an activity. What I would recommend, just from my experience, I would at least dip the pretzels ahead of time. And I will tell you, I slopped chocolate on some of the faces. It is kind of tough to place it accurately for me. Might be operator error, just saying. So let's keep going here. Now, I know not everyone likes candy corn. So there's that. But they are cute. And I think they're enjoyable to make. And I may have to actually melt some chocolate chips because I'm not sure I'm going to have quite enough chocolate for all 10. But as you see, I'm just trying to, get some semblance of a round chocolate glob. And I am not worried about any of the chocolate sticking out from the sides on the head because I think that actually helps it stick better. I honestly think the brown and orange are my personal favorite look. So yeah. And then as these finish, I will put them back into the fridge. Now y'all know I'm pretty proud of my 1951 Philco that came from my aunt and uncle. So it does have a shelf right under the freezer that's called a quick chiller. You can totally put these in the fridge. So I'm gonna stick these in the fridge. I'm gonna finish decorating my last 6, and I'll bring you back at the very end for some final thoughts. Well, our turkey treats have chilled. A couple housekeeping items. These candy melts were 8 ounces. I just didn't see it down at the bottom. And I did indeed have to melt. I had some peanut butter meltaways, which I mixed with a little chocolate to get the color right. So I would say for 10, as long as you don't coat maybe the pretzels quite as heavy as I did, I just wanted them to be well coated. You should be able to do it with 1 bag of chocolate chips. But are you ready for the big reveal? Y'all, these are darling. Look at these guys. Are those the cutest ever? Like, I kind of think so. So I am not going to eat any of them because this, as I said, is a gift from my neighbor. And so I'm about ready to give her a text and let her know I have a treat for her and her family in honor of Thanksgiving, and express my gratitude at having such a good neighbor. And this is my neighbor that has the chicken sisters to my chickens. So yeah, she's just a lovely neighbor. Her husband is the gentleman who helped when the tree fell and came and rebuilt the run for me. So I feel very blessed. They have 3 children. The youngest is a little boy, and he is just absolutely wonderful, and he loves candy corn. So I figured the others can just pick off the candy corn, or they can give it to the youngest. And I don't want to say names because I didn't ask first. Y'all, I know things in the news right now might be anxiety provoking. I am not an alarmist. I try to be as prepared as I can be. And y'all, that's all any of us can do. I do want to encourage you, if you're planning on cooking special dishes for the holidays, I would say keep your eyes peeled in the store. I was going to make fruitcake this year. So far in my area, I've been unable to find the candied fruit. Don't need to be eating a fruitcake anyway, but I thought it would be fun, and you actually make it a month ahead of time because it has a little something that has to mellow out. Has a little whiskey in it, but you know, obviously all the alcohol content cooks away. So coming up, I also want to tell you all, I have still been letting those apples that we prepared, my goodness, September, 1st of September, end of August, for the apple cordial, those are still doing well. I've been checking on those, you know, on the regular. I also have some very fermented hot peppers. And so I hope to be bringing you a video on how to make hot sauce. Even though I've let mine ferment for a very long time, you do not have to let it ferment for months and months. So I think it will still be timely for Christmas. I also want to say welcome to all of our new subscribers, y'all. We have really grown, and I do appreciate each and every one of you, both new and returning. I'm so glad you're here. And y'all, anytime a channel grows, you're going to have a higher number, just percent-wise, of snarky comments. I don't know what to call them, y'all. It's just part of doing YouTube. And so, you know, I try to catch them when I catch them. That's all I can do. Always remember, I'm never going to post a link in a comment to contact me on WhatsApp, I think it's called. Yeah, I don't even have that. So, you know, just be mindful of people who are trying to take advantage of others at this time. So I also want to thank all of you who commented on my crocheted stocking project. So I am going to be doing that video. I know not everyone crochets, but I got enough response. I think it's worth doing a video, and I'm going to be making my chicken stockings this year anyway. You know, the cats have always been, for my son and I, a big focus at Christmas. They have their own stockings, their own presents. And I know this year might be a little bit tough for Ben. You know, this will be the first Christmas he's not had Chester. And he's not ready for another animal right now. I understand that. So I thought I might distract him with chicken antics. So at any rate, thank you for your time today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know. Drop me a comment. First, smash the like button. Then drop me a comment. Would you consider making these crazy turkeys? And if you're not a lover of candy corn, any suggestions for other things you could use? You could take M&Ms and put around it as well, you know, like up on their side to make them sort of three-dimensional. That was the only thing I could come up with. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. But until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.